This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, students. I'm Dr. Divya from TeenEinstein. So, we are in the 8th chapter, Human Health and Diseases. So, what and all we have learned in this chapter? We learned about health. Health means it is not just the absence of disease. And what do you mean by health? A state of complete physical, mental, social, and physiological well-being. See, if we don't have a disease, that doesn't show we are healthy. We should be in a state of complete social, physiological, then complete physical, mental. In all way, we should be healthy. So that means we are healthy. Disease-free body doesn't have a meaning that, or that doesn't mean that we are healthy. In all ways, we should be healthy. Then we learned about different types of diseases, right? Diseases like typhoid, cholera, pneumonia, then fungal infections of skin, then malaria, and we have learned about many other major diseases of human beings. And vector-borne diseases. Which is the vector-borne disease? We have learned about malaria. That is, malaria is caused by different types of plasmodium, right? Among that plasmodium falciparum, that is very dangerous one, and if it is not treated well, that may lead to death also. Then, how can we prevent or how can we control all these type of diseases? We said all these are by different types of organisms, right? Different types of infections. The body is getting different types of infections or different types of diseases. So how we can control or how we can prevent this disease? That is the main important question. Why? Because all these diseases all these diseases are spoiling our health, right? So these diseases should be prevented. Or how we can control that disease. So first thing is maintenance of personal and public hygiene. That is very important for prevention and control of diseases. Many infectious diseases that are due to non-hygienic conditions in public places, we should maintain that, and personal hygiene also we should maintain. So due to that, or without maintaining the personal and public hygiene, it's very difficult to prevent or very difficult to control this kind of infectious diseases. So, measures for personal hygiene. What are all the important measures for personal hygiene? Personal hygiene, we know first, we should be clean. Then only we can make the public hygiene or we can contribute towards the public hygiene. First, we need to maintain personal cleanliness. So for that, what and all we should do or what are the measures for personal hygiene? Personal hygiene is that include keeping the body very clean. Then consumption of clean drinking water, clean food, then vegetables, fruits, everything. All this should be clean. Right? First, we should be healthy. Right? Then only we can create a healthy society. So for that, what and all we should do? Personal hygiene is very, very important. So for maintaining that personal hygiene, that include body, cleanliness of body, then consumption of clean food and water, then vegetables, fruits, all this should be very clean. That is the main point for personal cleanliness. Then public hygiene. What do you mean by public hygiene? Public hygiene means that includes wastage disposal. See, normally people have the habit of, if you are eating something, that remaining food, half you will eat and half you will throw there. Or otherwise, if you are eating a banana, you'll put the waste there only. So that is a common habit of people. So we should change ourselves. First, we should maintain cleanliness. Then we should do our role properly towards the public hygiene. See, proper wastage disposal, that is very, very important for public hygiene, and excreta, that is also. Then periodic cleaning and disinfection of water reservoirs. Water reservoirs, that should be cleaned properly. Okay. Time to time cleaning of that water reservoirs, because you know mosquito-borne diseases and all such diseases which are spread through mosquitoes. So where this mosquito larva will multiply, that will be in the water. Okay, if you are maintaining the water clean, that mosquitoes won't find a place to multiply. Or if you are maintaining the cleanliness, such larvae won't multiply. So that also will reduce the spreading of diseases. So public hygiene, that includes proper disposal of wastage and excreta, then periodic cleaning and disinfection of water reservoirs, then pools, tanks and all. Okay. Then standard practices of hygiene in public catering. Okay, that is very important. See, the food whichever we are eating, that is clean, means half of the diseases we can avoid, right? So the contaminated food we are having means that itself, like we have learned about dysentery, such things, and also those things and all can be avoided. The water and food, that should be clean, first of all. Then these measures, all these measures are essential. Why? Because the infectious agents are transmitted through food and water. So in the case of typhoid, then ascariasis, then amoebiasis, all these things, all these diseases through food and water. So what we can do? This hygiene. If you are maintaining practicing the hygiene in food habit or food items or public catering, that itself will help us to escape from all these diseases, right? Like typhoid, amoebiasis and ascariasis, all these diseases. Then, in the case of airborne diseases, so these we were talking about the diseases which are spreading through food and water. Next, in the case of airborne disease, what we can do? Airborne diseases like common cold, pneumonia and all. Everywhere that food should be clean. Contaminated food and water we should not use. So that part is common for all diseases, because that makes our body healthy. Without using contaminated food and water, normally our body will be healthy if we are not touching such things. Then additional things. In addition to all those things, what and all we should do for airborne diseases and all? Close contact with the infected person or their belongings should be avoided. Okay, close contact. In case of airborne diseases, close contact with the infected person or their belongings should be avoided. So in the case of COVID, now for everything we can take COVID as an example. For such kind of diseases, what you can do? Normally the instructions given from government, what is that? Doctors are giving instruction like, so close contact with the infected person should be avoided and their belongings. See, we should not eat in the same plate, or we should not share those glasses or whatever we are using. So utensils or such things and all, we should not share. That and all we have told, right? Because airborne disease, through the droplets, it will spread. So in such cases, the extra measurements other than clean drinking water, food, vegetables, fruits and all, other than that, in the case of airborne diseases, we should think about, or we should be conscious about this also. What? We should avoid close contact with the infected persons and their belongings. Okay? Then, in the case of malaria and filariasis, those kind of diseases are transmitted through insect vectors, right? So the important measure is to control or eliminate the vector and that vector's breeding places. We should be aware of that. So diseases like malaria and filariasis and all, those things are transmitted through insect vectors. Vectors like mosquitoes. So what we should do, the important measure we should take, what is that? To control or to eliminate such vectors. And we should take care of their breeding places also. In the sense, the stagnant water and all such things should be avoided, because this will multiply. Mosquitoes and all will multiply in that water, right? Their larvae will multiply in that water. So better to avoid such situations. So how we can do this? By avoiding stagnation of water in and around residential area. Then regular cleaning of household coolers. Okay. Coolers. In coolers will pour water and also such things. That coolers and without changing, if you are running for months, in that also mosquitoes will come. Right? Mosquito larvae will come. So we should clean everything. Then use of mosquito nets. Then another one, introduction of fishes like gambusia. In ponds and all, if you see in pond, obviously water will be there, right? Because that is a resource of water. So in such ponds, gambusia, fishes like gambusia, if it is present in the pond, what it will do, that will feed that mosquito larva. Okay, these gambusia fishes that will eat this mosquito larva, and that's how we can decrease the number. Okay, then insecticide in ditches. In ditches, we can spray insecticide. That also will cause the death of those kind of larvae. Ditches and drainage areas, we can spray insecticides. Then, one more thing we can do in how we can provide mosquito nets or meshes which can prevent the entry of mosquitoes. So such all these type of precautions we can take, right? Precautions, that is prevent this kind of precautions will prevent us from this kind of vector-borne diseases like Aedes mosquitoes, then dengue fever, chikungunya, such things and all, which are spread through these mosquitoes. So if you are providing net or meshes for doors and windows, that will prevent the entry of mosquitoes. So that mosquito bite, we won't get mosquito bite, and the spreading of these diseases won't happen. So how can we prevent and control many infectious diseases? Like maintenance of personal and public hygiene. That is very important for prevention and control of many infectious diseases. Then measures for personal hygiene. What and all will come under measures for personal hygiene? First of all, keeping the body clean. We should keep our body very clean. Then consumption of clean drinking water, food, vegetable, fruits. Okay. First, we need to keep our body clean. Then our food should be very clean, food and water. Then, for other kind of diseases, apart from this clean body and clean food and water, some other preventions also, other control measures also we should take. What is that? When this infectious agents are transmitted through food and water, we can do this kind of things. So if it is airborne disease, what we should do? The infected person should get separated, or other people should not get in touch, or they should not keep close contact with the infected person, because it's spreading through air. So the droplets which is coming from the infected person, that will spread in the air, and if another person is inhaling, that person also will get that infection. So better to avoid close contact with the infected person and their belongings. Then some other diseases which are transmitted through insect vectors. So for such kind of situations, most important measure is to control or to eliminate such vectors and their breeding places also. We should control or to eliminate the vectors and their breeding places also. We can spray some insecticide and all just to kill those larvae. Got it? Then our next topic is immunity. So what do you mean by immunity, or what is immunity? Immunity means we are exposed to so many diseases, like infectious diseases. So in that, if we are exposed to so many, see around us, so many microorganisms which are causing diseases are there, right? But all are not getting diseases, or all the organisms are not able to create problems in the healthy situations. Why? What is the reason? Only few of these exposures, only few can cause disease. Why? Or what is the reason? Because the body is able to defend. The body is having the capacity to defend itself from the foreign agents, right? Or this microorganism or the infectious agents. So body is having an inborn capacity to fight against this organism or these infectious organisms. Okay. So the overall ability of host to fight against the disease causing organism, that is called immunity, which is given by the immune system. That is called the immunity. So what is immunity? The overall ability of the host. What ability the host is having to fight against the infectious organism or the disease causing organism. So that is conferred by the immune system. That is called as immunity. So immunity means the ability, overall ability of the host to fight against the disease causing organism, which is provided by the immune system. That ability is provided by the immune system. That is called as immunity. Then immunity, you can see immunity is of two types. There are two types of immunity: innate immunity and acquired immunity. Innate immunity and acquired immunity. What is innate immunity and what is acquired immunity? Innate immunity, that's already there in our body. Acquired immunity, acquired, as the word says, acquired immunity means that is acquired. Okay, that is acquired by the body. Then, so what is immunity? The ability of the host to fight against this disease causing organisms. So the immune system is providing this ability, or that is giving, or immune system is giving the body this capacity to fight against this organism. So that is called as immunity. Then immunity is of two types: innate immunity and acquired immunity. Okay, innate immunity and acquired immunity. Next, what is this innate immunity? Or what is the meaning of innate immunity? So this innate immunity means that is non-specific type of defense. Okay, innate immunity is non-specific type of defense, and at the time of birth itself that will be present. Innate immunity. Innate means By birth itself, that capacity, that control is there. Okay, so the innate immunity is non-specific type of defense and that is present at the time of birth. Okay. Then how this is accomplished, or this innate immunity, how it is accomplished? It is accomplished by providing different types of barriers. Different types of barriers for what? To prevent the entry of the foreign agent. So in our body, some foreign agents or the pathogens will come. So the body is having the capacity by birth itself. So up to that, up to a level that can prevent all this entry of this kind of pathogens. So that's how it is. The body is providing different types of barriers to prevent the entry of these foreign agents or these pathogens inside our body. So the body is protecting itself up to one level. So this is innate. By birth itself it's present. Okay. So the innate immunity means it is non-specific type of immunity and it is present at the time of birth itself, and this is accomplished by providing different types of barriers to the entry of foreign agents or pathogens in our body. So the innate immunity, we can see innate immunity that consists of 4 types of barriers. Okay. So what are all types of barriers it is providing for preventing the entry of that organism, or how it is protecting our body without this pathogen's attack. Up to one level, body can defend itself, and it is providing special kind of barriers. Okay, different types of barriers to protect the body from foreign organism or from pathogens, or how it is doing, or what are all types of barriers body is providing to prevent the organism's attack. Then, first one is physical barriers. Physical barriers. What are physical barriers? First one, skin. You know that the skin in our body, it is a protective covering, right? That is the main barrier which is preventing the entry of this microorganism. The physical barrier. See, there are 4 types of barriers. First one is physical barrier, then physiological barrier, then cellular barrier, then cytokine barrier. Okay. Physical barrier, physiological barrier, then cellular barrier, then cytokine barriers. So these are the 4 types of barriers. So among that, first one is physical barriers. Under physical barriers, skin. Skin is the outermost layer. That skin on our body, that is a main barrier which is preventing the entry of microorganism. Then mucus coating. You know that mucus coating is present on the epithelium lining, the respiratory, gastrointestinal and urogenital tracts. Okay, this mucus coating in that helps in the trapping of microbes which is entering our body. Okay, first skin is working as a physical barrier, then the mucus coating of epithelium lining, the respiratory. Okay, that mucus coating which is present at the epithelium lining of respiratory region, then epithelial lining of gastrointestinal and urogenital tract. Or in all these places, the mucus coating of the epithelium. On the epithelial cells, we can see the mucus coating in respiratory, gastrointestinal and urological tracts. So that mucus coating, that helps to trap the microorganism which is trying to enter inside our body through that area. So that will provide as a, or that will work as a physical barrier. First is skin, the mucus coating of the epithelial lining in different respiratory, gastrointestinal and urogenital tract. Okay, that will trap the microbe before entering in our body. Okay, then second one is physiological barrier. Physiological barrier. What do you mean by physiological barrier? Physiological barrier is acid in the stomach, then saliva in the mouth, tear from eyes, and all these prevent microbial growth. Okay, we have learned that acid that is present in the stomach that is helping for digestion. Then saliva in mouth. Then tears from eyes. See, these are all have different types of enzymes. We have learned all these things. So, acid, the acidic condition which is provided by different acids in the stomach, that helps or that works as a physiological barrier. So when an organism or microorganism is entering, when it is going to the digestive system, this acid along with the digestion work, this acid also will get formed. So in such that acidic condition, some organisms won't be able to survive. So like that acids in the stomach that will be killing such kind of organisms, microorganisms which is entering in the body. So that acid in the stomach, then saliva. You know the salivary gland, it is secreting that saliva, and this saliva, first while chewing that food item and all, saliva will be there inside mouth, right? So inside mouth the saliva is there, and when microorganism is entering, in that saliva, that condition or in that pH, that organism can't stay or that will be struggling to survive that. So that also causes, up to one level, that causes the death of that organism. Then tears from eyes. Tears from eyes. In that condition also, organisms will not survive, most of the organisms. So all this prevents the microbial entry into the body and growth of that microbial organism. Okay. Then, so the physiological barrier over, physical barrier over. Next is cellular barriers. Okay. What do you mean by cellular barriers? Some type of leukocytes. That means white blood cells, leukocytes, white blood cells, WBC. So certain types of leukocytes of our body. Which type? Polymorphonuclear leukocytes. Polymorphonuclear leukocytes. PMNL neutrophils. Okay, otherwise it is known as PMNL neutrophils. For NEET exam, you should note down all these points because they may ask the short form also. Polymorphonuclear leukocytes. PMNL neutrophils. And monocytes. And natural killer. Natural killer, that is a type of lymphocyte in the blood as well as the macrophages in tissues that can phagocytose and destroy microbes. Okay. So the cellular barriers, some types of leukocytes of our body like polymorphonuclear leukocytes, PMNL neutrophils. Then monocytes and natural killers, that type of lymphocytes in the blood, and macrophages in the tissue that can phagocytose and destroy the microbes. Okay. You have learned phagocytosis and phagocytosis in the 11th book. So such cellular barriers are also present. Then cytokine barriers. You know that virus infected. When a cell is getting viral infection, that will secrete some kind of protein that are called as interferons that protects the non-infected cells from further viral infections. See, once one cell is getting viral infection, that time that cells will secrete some kind of protein that are called as, these proteins are called as interferons, and these interferons will be able to protect the non-infected cells from the second viral infection or from the further viral infection. So one more time, that cell won't get the same infection because that cells have secreted proteins which are called interferons that is having the capacity to protect from this viral infection. So there are that innate immunity that consists of 4 types of barriers: physical barriers, physiological barriers, cellular barriers, then cytokine barriers. Okay, so these are the 4 types of barriers in innate immunity. Next is acquired immunity. Acquired immunity. Innate means by birth itself it's there. Acquired immunity means it's pathogen specific. Acquired means we are getting it. We are getting that type of immunity. It won't be present by birth. Then it is pathogen specific. It is specific to specific pathogen. Then it's characterized by memory. That means when one time our body is having one pathogen, special type of pathogen infection for first time, that produces or that responses, that is called as primary response. That is of very low intensity. Then next time if we are getting the same infection with the same pathogen, that shows some intensified secondary response. That secondary response will be more. So our body shows great memory for the first pathogen attack or first pathogen encounter. Okay, so when we are getting a pathogen infection first time, that produce some kind of responses that are called as primary responses, and that is of very low intensity. When the second time the organism is getting same infection, that time intensified secondary response our body shows. This intensified secondary response that shows the capacity of our body to keep all these things in memory. Okay, so the body that shows memory for the first encounter. Next, in acquired immunity, this primary, just now we said about primary and secondary immune response, right? So first, it will be slightly showing the response. Then secondary immune response means that is intensified, right? By keeping the first attack in memory, our body is responding. That means it is little more intensified response will be there. So the primary and secondary immune response, these are done with, or this is with the help of 2 special type of lymphocytes. Lymphocytes which is present in the blood. Okay, so the primary and secondary immune response, these are carried out with the help of 2 types of lymphocytes which is present in the blood. That is B lymphocyte and T lymphocyte. B lymphocyte and T lymphocytes. Here you can see the lymphocytes which is present in the blood cell. So here the 2 special type of lymphocytes which is present in our blood, that is B lymphocyte. Here you can see B lymphocyte and this is T lymphocyte. So the B lymphocyte and T lymphocyte. What this B lymphocyte is doing? The B lymphocyte that is producing an army of proteins in response to pathogen into our body to fight with them. So when a pathogen is attacking our body, the B lymphocyte will produce different types of protein which can fight with the pathogen. Okay, so the B lymphocyte will produce an army of protein to fight with the pathogen, and this protein, it is released into our blood, and these proteins in the blood which are released by the B lymphocyte, that will fight with the pathogens. Okay, then these proteins which can fight with the pathogen, those proteins are called as antibodies. Antibodies. It's very easy to remember. Some external body is entering inside our body. So our body is producing some kind of protein which can work against that external organism or external body. So when one body is entering, one antibody or against that body, something is working, some kind of protein. That is called as antibody. Okay. Then T cells. In the case of T cells won't secrete any kind of antibodies. But what the T cells will do? T cells helps B cells to produce the antibody. So B lymphocytes, that will produce a group of proteins which can fight towards the pathogen which is entering in our body. So these pathogen, when pathogen is entering inside our body, this B lymphocytes will release a group of protein into our blood. Then these protein which is released into our blood by B lymphocytes, these are called as antibody. Okay. Then the T cells, they cannot secrete antibody, but it can help, the T cells can help B cells to produce the antibody. Then here you can see this is the structure of an antibody molecule. In this antibody molecule, you can see 4 peptide chains. 4 peptide chains you can see in the antibody molecule. In this, two small chains, those are called as light chains, and 2 longer, these are called as heavy chains. 2 small, these are called as light chains, and the longer one are called as heavy chains. So the antibody is represented as H2L2, heavy chain 2, light chain 2. So H2L2, this is the representation of antibody. H2L2. H2L2 means the representation of antibody. H2, heavy chain 2, L2, light chain 2. Okay. Then different types of antibodies are present in our body, or different types of antibodies are produced by our body. That is IgA, IgM, IgE, IgG, and these are among the antibodies, some of the antibodies. Okay. So the antibody, different types of antibodies are produced by our body: IgA, IgM, IgE, and IgG. So these are the important antibodies which is present in our body. Okay. 2 light chains and 2 heavy chains. Here you can see the light chain like this 2 and heavy chain. Then what these antibodies, the antibodies which are found in blood, where these antibodies will be present, these antibodies will get released into the blood from the B cells. So these antibodies which are found in blood, their response, it is also called as humoral immune response. So the response of antibodies which are found in blood, these are called as humoral immune response. So in acquired immune response, one type, acquired immune response. Okay, antibody mediated. And the second type is called as cell mediated immune response or cell mediated immunity, CMI, cell mediated immunity or cell mediated immune response. Then the T lymphocyte mediated CMI, T lymphocyte mediated CMI. Okay, so these are the two types of acquired immune response. Then see, if in human beings, if some of the important organ like liver, kidney, heart and all, it is not functioning properly, then that one and only remedy is transplantation. Because after transplanting only, a person can live the normal life. Right? So, the search of these organs to find out a suitable donor, that will be more. Then see, to protect our body from the foreign agents, direct antibodies we can directly give. Okay, ready-made antibodies are directly given for what? To protect the body against the foreign agents. So this is called as passive immunity. It is provided by us only. It is provided externally, or that ready-made antibodies are directly given. Ready-made antibodies are directly given to protect the body against the foreign agents. So this type is called as passive immunity. See, we used to say that mother's milk in the starting stage, it is very important or very essential for newborn child or newborn baby. Why? Why we are saying that mother's milk, consumption of mother's milk is very essential for the newborn infant. Why we are saying like that? Because the yellowish fluid, colostrum, the colostrum which is secreted by the mother, the yellowish fluid, that fluid is called as colostrum. Note down, yellowish fluid, colostrum, which is secreted by mother, which is present in mother's milk during the initial days. Only in the initial days, this will be more. Initial days of lactation. That is having so much or so many antibodies, IgA, to protect that infant. So the feeding during the starting stage is very, very, very important. So the yellowish fluid, which is called as colostrum, and that is secreted by mother during the initial days of feeding or initial days of lactation, that is full of antibodies, or that is rich with the antibody IgA, immunoglobulin A. For what it will help? It will help to protect the kid or to protect the infant. Okay. Then from mother, fetus is also receiving some kind of antibodies. So during pregnancy, through placenta, from mother, that fetus is also receiving some type of antibodies. So these are the examples for passive immunity. Got it? So what are all the examples? The ready-made antibodies. Ready-made antibodies which are directly given to the body to protect the body against foreign organism or pathogens. This is called as passive immunity. And mother's milk is very, very important for a newborn infant. Why? Because the yellowish fluid which is present in the early days of lactation, that is called as colostrum, which is secreted by mother itself, and that is very important for the infant because it is rich in antibodies, and these antibodies can protect the infant from diseases. or that gives more immunity. Then from mother, infants, from mother, the fetus is also receiving antibodies. This is during pregnancy. Through what it is getting that, and these are the, so that's all. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Is it clear? I hope this part is clear for you. Active immunity and passive immunity, innate immunity, acquired immunity, all these things we need to learn properly, because you may get so many questions from this part. You may get important questions from this part. So, do you have any doubt? Just go through these portions. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the next class. Thank you.